Welcome to Engage on the Go. I'm Judy Maggio. A priority for Leadership Austin is to increase civic engagement by convening even more people in critical community conversations. We know not everyone's available for our monthly Engage Breakfast, so we're bringing these panel discussions to you through this Engage on the Go series. Our hope is to encourage a thoughtful dialogue about a community issue at a time and place that works for you. We want to thank our presenting sponsor, University Federal Credit Union, who's helping us bring these series of discussions to where we live, work, and play.
Hello, my name is Tony Boudet. I'm CEO of University Federal Credit Union. We're proud to partner with Leadership Austin as presenting sponsor of Engage on the Go. We hope this series sparks thoughtful, respectful dialogues at a time and place that work best for you.
Conspire Theatre offers incarcerated women and their allies a healing and empowering experience through theater and creative writing. At December's Leadership Austin Breakfast, the women of Conspire Theatre performed their original skits, offering a glimpse into understanding their individual stories of incarceration. We look through the lens of compassion and understanding for women formerly incarcerated and their experiences with the challenges of the reentry process. Take some time to view their performances and have a conversation within your community on this topic.
Imagine for a moment that you're all in jail. I don't know what you did to get here, but obviously you're all bad people. It doesn't matter if you went to church on Sunday. It doesn't matter if you volunteered with a charity. It doesn't matter if you worked hard every single day of your life. Every good thing you have ever done has now been erased from the records of humanity. You are now and will always be the worst thing you've ever done. There is no penance. There is no redemption. You're now the property of the state of Texas, and I hope that you don't scrape your knee or get a paper cut, because you will get a case against you for the destruction of state property. But can I tell you something? You've all been sold a lie. Actually, you've been sold a pack of lies. The first lie is that you're all bad people, and that you're now defined by the crime that you have committed. The second lie is that I have to pick a side, good or bad. Because if I pick a side, the first lie becomes true. So obviously, you must be bad people, because also the third lie is depending on it. And the third lie is that you deserve to be here. Because if I believe that you're bad and that you deserve to be here, I can justify your incarceration. I can justify your dehumanization. I can justify destroying your families. I can even justify killing you. And maybe you are a criminal. Maybe you do deserve to be here. But maybe it's not that easy. Maybe what it all boils down to is you didn't have the money to pay an attorney. Maybe you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or maybe you just made a bad choice. Or maybe you made the best choice you could with the circumstances you had. Imagine the headline says, "Murderer sentenced to 75 years." But the story doesn't say that you were defending yourself and your unborn child against your rapist. Imagine a headline that says, "Sex offender sentenced to 55 years." But your story doesn't say that you were asleep in the other room when your boyfriend had sex with an underage girl. But because you're a topless dancer in a small town, everybody thinks you're trash anyway. So of course they find you guilty. Imagine a headline that says, "Drug dealer sentenced to 20 years for selling in a school zone." But the story doesn't say that you were in your own home. You sold a joint out of your own personal stash. And maybe you didn't get a headline, but that's okay, because nobody was going to hear your story anyway. Whatever you did, you're all branded for life. It says on this piece of paper that justice was served. So justice was served, right? Our brain has a tendency to want to clearly define and categorize the information that it takes in to make sense of the world around us. But in our search for a concrete perspective, we lose sight of our humanity. The understanding that when we struggle, we're offered an opportunity to learn, to grow, to do better, to be better. bad or good, black or white, Republican or Democrat, guilty or innocent. The truth is, it's complicated, and it isn't as simplified as we try to make it. People do some awful things, and I'm not denying that crime happens. Crimes have been happening since the dawn of time in every culture and every land. But none of our responses have solved the problems. And I would argue we've actually perpetuated them and made them worse. What would it look like if we were able to sit down and have an honest conversation without vengeance and anger, and begin to have honest conversations about the actual problems? I have a few friends that want to abolish the prison system, and I have a really hard time wrapping my head around that. I've seen some pretty scary things, but then I wonder, what would it look like if we were forced to deal with our problems instead of hiding them away and pretending they don't exist? Crime is a symptom of the problem. It's not the actual problem. And I don't know what the answer is. It's complicated. Prison is this forgotten place that people rarely think about. The people who reside there are the bad people that do bad things. And it's not until you or someone you love is there that you begin to question the things that you've been told. We've been told a story about the people behind those walls, who they are and why they're there, a story that we bought and embellished, a headline of half-truths and sensationalism. So since we're here today to talk about the face of criminal justice, I want to play a little game, lighten things up a little bit. I'm going to need a couple of volunteers, ma'am. Would you come up? Sure. And Miss Julia, would you come up? And how about you? Come on. All right, so we're going to play a little game to see if you guys know what the face of criminal justice is. So, if anybody thinks that Dr. Evelyn Robertson has ever been to prison, please raise your hand. If you think that Julia has ever been to prison, please raise your hand. If you think that Miss Keith has ever been to prison, raise your hand. Okay. Have you ever been to prison, ma'am? Okay, thank you for playing. You may have a seat. Have you ever been to prison? Have a seat. Have you ever been to prison?
Yes, I have.
Oh, well, here, I'll let you take that.
So it takes 7 seconds to make the first impression. And I didn't see a lot of hands raised. So I'm sure Kevin never came to mind. The next thing that people often wonder is, what could she possibly have? She looks like such a nice girl. By the way, I am. 3 extraordinary grandchildren. But my story started in 1997 when I gave birth to a really beautiful baby boy, 8 weeks early with a 3rd lump. 5 days old, they had surgery, and 6 weeks in ICU was $1 million. Countless surgeries, medications, therapies, a diagnosis of Asperger's at 4, child schizophrenia at 6. By 8 years old, we had kept our medical insurance at $2.5 million. And that's when I made that one very, very bad decision. I chose to take money from my employer. I was caught in 2007, pled guilty. I received 10 years probation with $1,200 a month restitution. Anybody got a spare $1,200? In 2011, I lost my job. Didn't pay that restitution. And in 2013, I was revoked for non-payment. I received 7 years sentence. I served 3. Now I like numbers. But in TBC jail is only a number. That number was 018803115. But I'm here to tell you today. My name is Ms. Keith, and welcome to Math. You see, in prison, I was a GED math teacher for 3 years. Can you imagine? 25 women, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, 2 classes a day. And that was 30 hours of math a day. That's so much fun. So much. I wasn't a math teacher by trade. I wasn't even a teacher by trade. But I became one. Numbers and math are everywhere. How about cooking? Everybody cooks. We drive cars and try and park them. That's geometry. Fractions of time. Every single day. So math is everywhere. Might surprise you to hear that in prison I enjoy energy. There was one person in particular who stood out though. Her name was Miss Campbell. Now Miss Campbell came from the 5th Ward, if anybody knows the 5th Ward of Houston. Miss Campbell jumped on my last nerve. And she'd come back and jump again. And just when I thought we were through, she come back and jump just one more time for good measure. But when she graduated, when she graduated, she stood up in front of the class and she thanked me. She said, Miss Keith, today I don't have to take off my clothes unless I want to. Because you see, she'd been stripping since the age of 16 in her grandfather's strip club. So what else could we talk about? A little Pythagorean theorem this morning. I know we're all wide awake for that one. Okay. How about I share some numbers with you that have impacted my life personally? One daughter, 2 sons, 3 grandsons, 6 people. That's what my actions that took me to do. Did you know that 1 in 2 in the labor force have some kind of addiction? Did you know that 1 in 3 have a felony conviction? That's a third of our labor force. America has the single most highest rate of incarceration in the world. Currently, we have 2.3 billion people, or million people, incarcerated. In 1980, we had 0.5 million incarcerated. 500,000 are drug-related cases today. 41,000 were drug cases in 1980. If you compare China, who has the largest population in the world, the U.S., we are only 5% of the global population. Yet we have 25% of the world's population of prisoners. Now here's some numbers that we've done at a 4 a.m. breakfast. Did you guys think this one was a little early? 10 a.m. lunch, 3 p.m. dinner. Yeah, I don't have to do that anymore because I was released last year on December 15th. 501,000, as I said, are serving for drug convictions. When the DSM-5 now says drug addiction is an illness, do we now incarcerate people for illness? 85% have no education in prison. In a country where we promise that your child will be free. Re-entry, what does it look like? What if you had bought a car and you worked really hard to pay for it for 5 years and you get that title? It's a really exciting thing, isn't it? But I'm going to come back to you tomorrow and tell you, I'm sorry, for the rest of your life you have to pay interest on it. That's what re-entry looks like for those of us who walk through it. It's a permanent re-entry back into society. I want to leave you with this. The single most important number, the number 1. Did you make your decisions to hire people or not, to pass judgment or not, to lend a hand up or not? I want you to remember that each one of you in this room is one bad decision maker.
I grew up in a village, and in the village there were mothers in the village, and these mothers were like mother hens. They were my friends' mothers. There was Miss Day that lived across the street, and then there was Miss Major that lived on the street behind us. And when we be outside playing, these mother hens would be on their porch, they would be attending to their yard, and they would see us doing something wrong, and they'd be like, hey, give us that look. What are you doing? Go back over there. You know you're not supposed to do that. So these mother hens, when my mother wasn't around, they were my mothers. I remember growing up and being in my backyard. We had a fenced-in backyard. I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood, and I would lay in my backyard at night and just watch the stars and, just enjoy the breeze that would be wrapped around me as I laid down in the grass. Fast forward a couple of years, 20 years old, I get arrested. I get arrested for protecting myself and my unborn child. I was 20. I was sentenced to 75 years in prison for protecting myself from a rapist. When I got to prison, I met some more mother hens. They were the old timers. And the old timers to us were women that had served at least 10 or 15 years already. And these old timers, they would approach me, and to be honest, I was really angry when I went to prison. I was angry because I was 20, I was being raped, I was being beaten, and I was 4 months pregnant. So when I got there, I was really angry. cussed out the warden, stayed in trouble. My counselor averaged out that out of 31 days of the month, about 30 days I was on some type of restriction. And restriction was room lockup, where I had to stay in my room for 23 hours a day. I could come out for 1 hour, and that 1 hour I had to take a shower and make a phone call. Or I was on commissary denial, which means that I couldn't go to commissary but once a month and was only allowed to spend $15. Or I was in segregation in the hole, where I was locked in a smaller room for, again, 23 hours a day, only allowed to come out for 1 hour. That was to shower and to use the phone if I wasn't on phone restriction. So these old timers, when they saw me doing something wrong, they'd be like, hey, give me that look. Where you going? Are you supposed to be going over there? No, you don't have a pass. Go where you're supposed to go. So after my first 2 years of being angry of my incarceration, I started to go to school. I went to school and I obtained my bachelor's degree and my AA degree, commercial arts and photography, beauty school, business management. All of these things while I was incarcerated, but now they stopped that. They don't allow individuals in jail or prison to go to school and obtain that kind of education. I fought and I fought and I fought the justice system. If I was in another state, perhaps with a lawyer, my family couldn't afford no attorney. I wouldn't have got the type of time I got. It took me several years to get my time reduced from 75 years to 40 years. And that's how I ended up serving 20 years of prison time. My child was born while I was in prison. My sister came to pick her up and she raised her. Today she's a mother of 2, and she's completed college. When I got out after serving those 20 years, life was completely different. I didn't know how to use a cell phone. I didn't even know how to pump gas. Let me tell you a story. First time I went to pump gas, I went to the pump, and I stood in front of that pump and I'm like, wow, you are bigger than me. When I went to prison, we used to pull the lever up. And so when I got out, there was all these gadgets. And so I'm like looking at this pump and sizing it up, and I'm like, there's like no way I could pump this gas. Because I didn't have a clue. I didn't know how, period. So as I'm walking into the gas station, I'm thinking to myself, do I lie or do I tell the truth? Do I lie and say, I just don't know how to pump gas, or do I tell the truth and say, hey, I just got out of prison after doing 20 flat years and this was not the same when I went in. And so I decided that, I'll just lie and I'll say, hey, I didn't really know how to pump gas, which I did know how to pump gas, but just not this gas. And I just didn't want the stigma, across, because I already had a hard time, acclimating myself back into society. But I would think people would always just see that I had this, you just got released from prison attached on my forehead. And so I went in and I told the lady that, I don't know how to pump gas. My brother's always pumped gas for me, so can you come and help me? So nicely, she came out and she helped me pump the gas, so that was cool. That was one episode. Walmart was a totally different thing for me. So I'm in Walmart. My brother takes me to Walmart, and we do a little shopping, I didn't have anything, so the normal things you get, accessories and smell goods and stuff. The smell that smelled good when I first came out was amazing. So we're at the scanner, and I'm looking at the scanner, and my brother's standing behind me, and he says, turn the box over, there's a barcode on the back, and you just scan the barcode across the little box on the machine, and you'll be fine. And that's how you take care of your items. And so I'm scanning, I'm like, oh shit, it talks. I'm like, this is cool. So, you know, I get the beeping, and you know, I that was just a thrill of my life. I'm sorry. You know, those small little things that we take for granted every day, to me, they were like a huge, big deal, because for 20 years, I looked at females, or I looked at men when I was in class, because I went to some co-ed institutions as well. And so that's all I had for 20 flat years, was just that environment and nothing else. Human touch, even though we touched each other, just the embrace of humans, you know, it was something, you know, amazing as well when I got home. So when I did go back to my village, there was no village anymore. My mother had passed a year before I was released from prison. So our house looked different. When I was growing up, it was huge. We had a 5-bedroom house upstairs, you know, and downstairs in the basement, and it was huge. And when I came home, it was like it was this itty bitty house. It looked so different to me. And the backyard looked even smaller, and I just imagine all the times that, you know, I laid in that backyard and had so much fun. It just looked really small to me. A lot of the houses were now boarded up. The people either had Miss Day had passed on. Miss Martin, she was sick, but she was still alive. And a lot of the houses were boarded up. There were no more pretty lawns or kids running down the street. It was just completely different. Today, all of you are a prisoner of some sort. You're a prisoner of your cell phones, because you can't put your cell phone down. If you leave the house without the cell phone, you're gonna go back to the house, am I right? To get your cell phone. You're just a prisoner of a different kind today. How many of your children you allow to play on their laptops all day long? Be honest with yourself. How many of you just set your children in front of the TV or in front of the laptop so you can do your business? Be honest. Hands. Okay. Some of y'all are truthful, but it's okay. You're allowing your child to be a prisoner of those hand devices as well. Somehow, in some way, we just have to get back to the village. And that village is playing outside in the backyard with our children. Although it's kind of dangerous, so we gotta, you know, watch everybody. But, you know, I just wish that somehow we can all just get back to the village of how it used to be, because I'm quite sure many of you were raised in a village where, you know, your neighbors next door were responsible for you as well. Just embrace life. Life is short, and many of us think that we won't be incarcerated, or may think that we don't know someone. You know, not me. It could never happen to me. It can happen to you in the blink of an eye, like it did with me.
We hope you found this edition of Engage on the Go helpful. Greater Austin is a diverse, rapidly growing region, facing issues that will certainly shape this place we call home. Please enjoy your conversation, and thank you for caring enough to share your perspectives with each other.